Right, is everyone ready for driver's briefing then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so hello and welcome to round one of the Digital-Motorsports TCR Racing Championship. Just want to do a quick roll call just to run through. I see that everybody's in there. Is anyone having issues right now with Discord or anything on track?
Nope.
Front was all over the place, but that sorts stuff out.
James got kicked out.
Who's got kicked out, Jordan?
James
Wingfield.
Okay, anyway, we'll kick on here. So this round one, Donington National. Everyone's had their 1 hour of practice, and we've had some practice sessions during the week. So as always, it's going to be a standing start. It's 15 lap race. We're going to have lone qualifying tonight, so 10 minutes. Your fastest lap out of your two flyers will qualify as your qualifying time. Then we've got a reverse grid. Today's race, top 20 will be reverse gridded on track. I think we've got nearly 62 drivers registered for this. So as always, it's the key things around keeping it clean, keeping the racing as tight and as exciting as possible. We are live streaming. It's gone out over the iRacing Esports Network tonight. Track limits are set to 17, so watch that, guys. That's going to include your contacts as well. Evan, as always, is going to ask us what defines the track limits. That's the white lines. Loads of opportunity for track cuts around Donington here, so just watch for that. We are expecting this to be close. Very, very busy track out there, so just watch pit entry, pit exits. As always, send your incidents into, there's a new email address for this, so it's racing@digitalmotorsports.com. Please send in the lap, the drivers involved, and if you can, a short description and video. I'll leave it there. You guys are all fairly familiar with what we're doing. Any questions?
How long is qualifying, Niall?
It's 10 minutes.
8 minutes.
8
Reverse
minutes,
grid
but
is
it's going to kick off now.
second race?
What's that?
Reverse grid is the first race or the second race?
Second race.
Top 30 or everyone?
Top 20.
Literally said all that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move off to the commentary channel. I'm going to let the guys in Apex Racing take over. If there's any other questions, pop them out to me now.
All good now, cheers.
Great, well enjoy it. If you can share the stream out, that'd be great. It's 2 minutes to the stream going live. I'm really looking forward to this. Cars look great on track. And if anything, as we always say, just enjoy the hell out of it.
Hi everyone.
Was it something I said?
second qualifying lap. In fact, we're looking here at, yeah, we are looking at Craig Breen as he goes up to the
straight we're going down before we head into he comes across the line to do a 1:12. Doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement there, but he stays ninth, so not too bad from Craig right there. Top 10 start on his debut with such an experienced field. Not bad at all right there. Craig right there, top 10 start on his debut with such an experienced field. Not bad at all right there.
Yeah, if you're new to iRacing, if you do make a small error, maybe just put two wheels onto the dirt, that will invalidate your lap. If you go off the track at any point, it does do that, and Craig Breen may have come a cropper with that. But as we cut back now to Sergio Graben, he's coming up to the right-hander here. Very easy for two cars to come together. It's a blind entry almost, and then you've got this long right-hander, which, if you're the car running behind, it does allow you to set the car up in front, and here we are coming to probably one of the main overtaking points on the circuit. And fortunately, there's a bit of runoff area at the chicane, because if you get it wrong, you can then hop across it and then get back on the circuit as Graben comes for the final corner now and up to the timing line.
Yeah, Sergio, very experienced in the Digital Motorsports era. He's raced in every single championship almost that has been on offer. 18th quickest at the moment, but the field, I mean, 23, 25 cars separated by just over 9/10 of a second. That is how close it is. But Jason Cooper, very experienced, and he's showing it. Pole position for the opening round, 1:11.5, ahead of Steen Ledger and Keith Dempsey, who still remains as quick as ever no matter what car you put him in. So let's have a look at who is going to be lining up for race 1, which is of course a 15-lap race. Here we go, Jason Cooper on pole position in the number 3 car, Steen Ledger in second place, 1/10 of a second behind. Keith Dempsey not too far behind on third place. Graham Quinn in fourth, Peter Dempsey in fifth, and Adrian Campfield doing well in sixth place. Jordan Kelly, as ever, in 7th place. Damien Harris 8th, Craig Breen in 9th place, and Dan Harper right behind him in 10th. Then we have Brian Egan just outside the top 10 in 11th place, and Fraser Smith in 12th place in the number 67 car. So interesting to see how Craig's going to get on from 9th place, and Peter Dempsey doing well in 5th there. Then further down, Colin Bays in 13th place, Arius Yamantas 14th, Brian McManus down in 15th place, James Holman 16th, Robbie Moore in 17th, Sergio Graben 18th, Niall Quinn all the way down in 19th, then Shane Rabbit in 20th, David Yamamoto in 21st place, Robert Barrable behind him, then Jamie Moylan in 23rd, and Keith Rabbit in 24th. Now, these guys very experienced in the F3 cars, but it's a very different discipline. 25th, Tony Stark, then Chris Bays, Naveed Hussain in 27th, Evan Walsh, Adam Dowling, Peter McCann, then Nicky Meredith, Olivier Van Her, Keen Carey, an F3 racer there in 33rd, Barry Rabbit 34th, Ronan Haderman down in 35th place, and Connor Murphy in 36th place. This is only a second off pole position, but this is how far it can put you down the grid, as the cars are currently gridding up. 37th place, Diarmuid Toomey, then Dave Collier in 38th, Alex Denning 39th, Kyle Stevens, Pat Masterson, Patrick McKenna, Shane Burke, James Wingfield, Max Turley, Simon Wall, David Budrys, Damien McMullen back with us, great to see him as well. In 48th place on the grid, then Rob O'Neill, Jack Byrne, Mark Carey, Neil Memory, Dave Sheehan, Nathan Healy, Owen Murray, Aaron Carey, and down the back, Wayne Douglas in 57th place on the grid. That is quite a lot of cars lining up on the grid. This is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Take a breath, Jack. Wow, what an effort that was. Green flag. Cars. And here we go, we're about to get going.
Here we go. I just took my breath from reading the grid, but now the 5 red lights are on for the start of the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. And away we go. Good start, Jason Cooper. Very hard to get these cars off the line. Jason Cooper gets a good start away from pole position there. Steen Ledger follows behind. Keith Dempsey trying to get up the inside of Steen's. The run towards turn 1. He's up the inside, gets up the inside, takes second place away. Another one of the Turn 3 Motorsport cars making their way up the inside. Peter Dempsey, there's a spinner in the background. Couple of cars involved right there. That look like Graham Quinn involved in that one as he falls down the field with Steen Ledger down to 3rd place. Keith Dempsey into 2nd, and a number of cars involved in that first turn. A debacle again. There's 58 cars trying to get through turn 1, but Jason Cooper clean away.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the best possible start that Jason Cooper could have wished for. He's already left Keith Dempsey 0.8 of a second down the road, and he's got Steen Ledger right behind him, so watch out for that when we get onto the back straight. There were a few cars, as he said, that these TCR cars are incredibly difficult to get off the line. You've pretty much got to start with no revs, and if you rev the car at all before the lights go out, then you really are going to struggle to get the power down. So a few drivers come into terms with that, but for the most part, everybody through the first few corners without incident.
Brian McManus, a brilliant start from him. He started down in 15th place, already up to 9th, and Craig Breen right on the back of him. And again, Brian McManus on the back of Dan Harper down here. So he's sandwiched him between some very experienced racers right here. Brian's going to have a look up the inside of the chicane. He's going to have a think about it. Robbie Moore in the back, just behind Craig Breen as well. And Brian McManus has made the move on Dan Harper. Now here comes Craig Breen. Robbie Moore looking for a move on Craig Breen as well. So there's a couple of cars, and Keith Dempsey is slowing down the main straight. What has happened to Keith? Has he got a slowdown penalty?
Yeah, if you get a slowdown penalty on the opening lap of the race, you are really going to be at a disadvantage. It gives you such a ton of time to give up. If you do it on lap 3 or lap 4 onwards, it's a lot less time. So Keith Dempsey really unfortunate for him. He's down to 6th place now.
Just now, Dan Harper under severe attack from Robert Moore. Craig Breen dropping back a little bit as Robert Barble gets onto him as well. Look at his train of cars as well. Brian McManus, again, he's a very fast starter. He's up to 8th place. He's already challenging Fraser Smith, as you can see up ahead. And he made up 20 places in the final F3 race, and he did it within the first couple of laps. So he's doing it again here. Brian, very experienced in the Digital Motorsports Championship. Now he's going to have to think about having a look at the inside of the top of the hill here. Tricky to make it work, but he should get the slipstream down towards the end of the lap.
See if he does that then through the right-hander onto the back straight. Fight here for 2nd place. This is Adrian Campfield versus Steen Ledger. On the inside goes Steen. Let's see if he can get it done. It looks like it's going to be a textbook move. He flops over the curve on the inside there, but no bother for him, and he is through into P2. But watch out for Campfield and maybe Peter Dempsey as they come across the line. Those two are just a few tenths of a second apart as they come over the line and start lap 3.
There goes Peter Dempsey up the inside of Adrian Campfield. As soon as he's set it, he takes his opportunity straight up the inside. Adrian Campfield having a good run, but Peter Dempsey, as quick as he was in the F3 Championship, he's coming after Steen Ledger now. But Jason Cooper is just checking out front. He's over a second, nearly 2 seconds clear out front at the moment. Really awesome job so far. But again, there's 15 laps in this race. Anything can happen in it, and we've got to watch as well for Keith, who of course had that slowdown penalty, and he's now latched onto the back of that train behind.
A lot of position changes going over the line at the end of that previous lap. Craig Breen remains inside the top 10. That's 1 place down from where he qualified. Cooper, as he said, out front. But then we've got this train of contact there, and that's all that Dempsey needed.
I think that was a bump and run from Dempsey, if I'm honest. Peter Dempsey making his way through. Adrian Campfield comes through. Damien Harris comes through. And there is Keith Dempsey in the slipstream train. That is how quick you can lose positions in these TCR cars because of how close they run. He loses 4 positions. Keith's now up the inside into the chicane, right on the bumper as well. Can he make that work? Yes, he can. He goes through back to 5th place now. And just like that, Steen Ledger goes from 2nd to 6th in the space of 2 corners.
Slightest bit of contact, and I think we've got to expect that in the 2 races that we've got coming up today. I didn't expect to see it that early, that must be said, but here's a move up the inside. That is Fraser Smith, and also in the mix, that's Harper. That's Daniel Harper, the BMW Junior driver that you were talking about at the beginning of the show. He's not afraid to get in the mix in the early stages.
No, he'd be very, very experienced with this circuit as well, having raced them in the Porsche Carreras as well. So it'd be interesting to see how a battle goes on between himself and Craig. So 2 very experienced Irish drivers. Interesting to see how they get on in the sim world. But Brian McManus into 7th place now, chasing after Steen Ledger, who started in 2nd place. He's down to 6th now. Looks to be struggling in the early part of this race. But of course, there's 2 races to go and an inverse grid after this one, so it should make for some interesting viewing. But Steen now in kind of the middle of nowhere at the moment, and just trying to latch onto the back of the train up front. That is still Peter Dempsey from Adrian Campfield.
On the timing screen at the moment, there are a lot of purple sectors, so the driver's still waiting to set their optimal lap times as we come across the line to start lap 5. Fastest lap last time around this time is by Keith Dempsey, who is at the back of your shot there with the yellow mirrors. Turn 3 Motorsport trying to get Damien Harris, and who in turn is trying to get by Adrian Campfield, who closes the door very late there, plunged down the crane of curves.
Down towards the old hairpin. Now you can hear him lifting. He doesn't want to get fully on the throttle because he'll end up in the back of Damien Harris's car. This is on board with Keith Dempsey, the reigning F3 champion, Virtual Leinster Trophy champion. He's got a lot of titles to his name, but he's in a brand new series right now, and he's not quite the quickest. He's got to fight his way through now, up through these cars. And again, you do form slipstream trains, but again, it's very hard to get out of them because the cars up front will also have slipstream off the car in front, and it's a vicious cycle. But it is being led by his brother, Peter Dempsey, just in front of your shot right there in the other Turn 3 Motorsport car. And these guys have had some great fights over the season as well. So it's always great to see them go toe to toe against each other. It's always the brotherly battles that seem to be the most intense. As Damien Harris has a look, and there's contact between himself and Adrian Campfield into the chicane, but I think Campfield just floored it and got it back straight again, which he did. And now Damien Harris is now going to look. They're going to try and go 3 abreast down the main straight. See if he can sort them out as they go down there. And again, there's 3 abreast in the background as well. There's craziness as Keith Dempsey takes the both of them around the outside. Brilliant move, Keith Dempsey. And Dan Harper takes 3 cars up the inside there as well. Brilliant moves from both Turn 3 Motorsport cars. Brilliant stuff.
I bet Craig Breen's sitting here thinking, well, what have I got myself in for here? As Fraser Smith and Harper are all involved in action. It looked like there on the exit of the chicane that Damien Harris did have a slowdown penalty. That's why there was a bit of contact on the exit onto the front straight. He's now down to 5th place after all that, with Campfield 4th, and you're right, Keith Dempsey up into P3. But here's Harper and Smith. They're going at it again through the left-hander and up to the top of the hill. This is where we saw some contact earlier on in the race. Drivers taking different lines through there, running out onto the exit curb and now up the hill. You have to be quite opportunistic if you want to get a move done here, and maybe sometimes a bit rude, but no way through there here. But here we go onto the back straight again. This is where we saw the argy-bargy on the previous lap, and it looks like we might be getting more of the same this time.
Here comes Steen Ledger on his teammate Fraser Smith up the inside. Can he make it work there? Just notice well, Brian McManus has dropped down the field. Just had a problem there, and there's Steen Ledger up the inside trying to follow Dan Harper in the background. Craig Breen might have an opportunity now. 2 VRA racing cars behind him of Evan Walsh now getting himself involved with Brian McManus as well. This is going to be interesting. The VRA racing cars now. Craig's going to have to go defensive because he's got Evan Walsh on his outside, or Brian McManus, excuse me, and try to go around the outside of Craig Breen. He might add that to his CV. He gets run out wide by Craig. Is not having it now. Here comes Evan Walsh up the inside and he can get it work. Not quite. Craig is getting his elbows out. You gotta love to see it.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? And I'm sure we're going to see more of this from Craig as the race meeting goes on. He's doing a decent job. He's right where he started in P9. That's where he wants to be. But I'm sure he'd like to get a bit further up the field and be in with a shout maybe of getting some decent points, or maybe even a top 5 as the race goes on. We are just past the halfway mark in this opening race of the day. 7 laps in the books, or just approaching the halfway point, I should say. And now into the right-hander, going onto the back straight again. On the previous lap, Rob Barrable came into the pits. Not too sure why. The privateer, number 44, looked like everything was okay, but nonetheless, he did come into the pits on the previous lap, so that is a shame for him in this opening race. He might be able to get some salvation in the reverse grid race later on, but here we are following Craig Breen through the final chicane, a little bit sideways on the exit, and that might allow the car behind Evan Walsh. He's gained 18 places in this race. He's done very well so far to try and close in a little bit.
Good man, Evan. 18 places up, exactly what he wanted. Again, he's just been picking his lines, doing his job, and now he's got to think about, because he's got Brian McManus up his inside now, his teammate. Just wouldn't do anything stupid here. Brian goes straight through. Evan opens the door for him, lets him straight through. Nothing doing there because Brian is trying to recover this slot, and that looks like a lapped car in the way. It's James Wingfield just coming out of the way there and trying to get himself out of the way of so many cars. It's tricky enough, but fair play to James getting out of the way. And now I think action has settled down for just a moment.
Indeed, yeah. So top 10, as you can see on your screen: Cooper, Dempsey, and then Campfield, Harris, Harper, Ledger, Smith, Breen, and McManus. Here's some of the fights that are going on outside the top 10. This is Wingfield that is getting lapped by Niall Quinn. And also behind his Aegis Germantus there in 14th place. Has got a decent run as well on the exit of the right-hander. There's the 4 car. He's right where he started as well, like we saw with Craig Bean earlier. Looks like he's too far away to get a move done up the inside into the chicane. Having said that, he's missed his braking point and he's gone off.
Classic case of commentator's curse right there. So Germantus goes straight off at the chicane, trying to get past Niall Quinn as well. Another reigning champion in Digital Motorsports. He won the GTE championship a while back, but struggled to get past Arias Germantus there. Now Dan Harper, severe pressure from Steen Ledger down the craner curves into the old hairpin. Extremely tricky to follow. It's not really an overtaking opportunity because of how narrow it is. Past the old bridge on the left hand side. He used to go over the circuit, just see it there, the aqueduct. Now, where is Steen going to pick his move? Not going to be quite at the top of the hill here. He might have to already think about the last chicane. Going to get right on the bumper. Dan just covers the inside line. Steen tries to get the cutback. Just a little bit of contact there, I think, on the way out. But these cars always going for a bit of bumping. There was definitely contact there and straight off the road. That was most certainly a bump and run from Steen Ledger. And Dan Harper has unfortunately been left out to dry there.
Maybe a smash and grab more like, as Harper had been putting on a good defensive display up until that point. I was just about to compliment him on that, but it looks like the car behind him had other ideas. He's trying to get back into some sort of rhythm here, as Brian McManus was trying to get by. He's now got to get by Craig Bree now, Dan Harper. I don't think that was his fault at all. It was one nudge, which became a bigger nudge, and eventually he was finding himself off the circuit. But Harper has still got 5 laps or so to try and get some of those places back, and that is a place also for Craig Breen, because he's now up into P8. As here are the 2 VRA Racing teammates. They happen to stop fighting each other for the last few laps, and who's this now joining the fight? This is Shane Rabbit.
You love to see Shane Rabbit getting his elbows out into a place. Always great to see Shane racing with us now. He's more used to driving an RX-7 touring car, so this is a little bit different for him, but he's enjoying himself, trying to get himself inside the top 10, gets past Evan Walsh. And here he comes, trying to go on the inside of Brian McManus. Can he take 2 cars? Door-to-door contact on the way out. Move. Shane Rabbit, can he make it work? There's contact, there's door-to-door contact on the way out. Can he fend off Brian McManus down the straight? Now he'll be well Brian gets the cutback on the way out. Can he fend off Brian McManus down the straight as they run through there? Brian gets the cutback on the way out. And Evan's going to have a little think about going back at it again. Brian goes straight back through again, and Evan is going to have a little think about going back at it again. But this is allowing Niall Quinn to get himself involved as well. He's just outside there in the Targa Sim Sport car. Now, can he get down the inside? He has to think about it, but Brian is back ahead once again, but great racing from the VRA regulars.
This is great racing, isn't it? One thing we do like to see in these on iRacing is cars and drivers really struggling to control the car, and these cars may be front wheel drive, but when they're on the brakes they're slipping and sliding all over the place, and this fight isn't over yet. And number 35 there, Niall Quinn, he nearly fancied a chance up the inside into Redgate, but decided better of it. Problem here for Fraser Smith, who has dropped down to 9th place now. That's a shame for him, because he was running well.
Yeah, just looks like a little mistake from him there, just running off at turn number 1. But now he's under pressure from Brian McManus, trying to look up the inside. But all that, of course, has allowed Craig Breen to get in another spot up to 7th place. He's doing quite well. But he's under pressure from Dan Harper. So now we've got a 5-car train right here. Brian McManus trying to get past Fraser Smith, who's just had a mistake. But he's got to watch behind. Shane Rabbit's all over him in the background as well, the number 24 car. Who is going to come out on top in this battle? You'd love to see it. Lap 11 of 15. It's still Jason Cooper, who is completely clear out front, but Keith Dempsey lighting up the timing screens, but fastest lap after fastest lap. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. But we are focused on this battle for the top 10.
One thing that's great about this is all of these guys that are in the top 10. This is based on qualifying. Once race 2 starts, these guys are going to be in the midfield trying to get back to the front again. So we're going to see more of the same of this as they come over the line. A little bit of a wiggle there by Shane Rabbit, and look at that, that's Fraser Smith having to go on the defensive. To the outside goes Brian McManus into Redgate. He's going to try and get the cut back here, and it looks like he might just get it. Will we see a move into the old hairpin? It is probably one of the toughest places to get a move done at Donington Park. So far, Fraser Smith putting up a solid defensive display there. He should defend the inside line. He goes back to the racing line, and Brian McManus cannot get up the inside, but it looks like he might have just got a better run through the exit of turn 3 there. We'll have to wait and see, as Craig Breen looks like he's gained another place. He's trying to get past Steen Ledger.
And that's another problem for the other full send racing car of Steen Ledger. Another problem for him. Craig Breen up to 7th, Dan Harper up to 7th. And Steen Ledger trying to recover some lost ground. Now he's trying to go around the outside of Dan Harper. Can he make that one work with the traction? There's a little bit of contact on the way out, a little bit of door banging, no harm done right there. But down towards the chicane, can he make anything working in the background? Evan Walsh trying to get up the inside of Shane Rabbit as well for 11th place. A lot of door banging going on, but these guys are loving this in the difference from the F3 car. Niall Quinn trying to go around the outside of Evan Walsh. Lovely move. Niall Quinn just caught Evan napping a little bit there, I think.
What a fantastic move that was, and it's on down the front straight. Oh. They're going to take each other out then for a brief moment. Fraser Smith not giving an inch, neither too is Brian McManus. We saw these two fighting at this very spot on the previous lap, and they're back at it again.
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit of door room, and I think Brian is just getting a little bit frustrated behind Fraser. I think he knows he's quicker than him, so let's see if he can just get himself ahead again. But Niall Quinn is coming for this top 10 as well, because he wants to get a good position for the reverse grid. With only 2 laps left to run after this, another car's getting out of the way right there. Just another lapped car, but now here comes Niall Quinn, just locking up the rears right there, trying to get it into the corner right there, and now following behind Shane Rabbit. That's Dave Sheehan just up ahead that's getting out of the way. He's getting himself well out of the way, I must say. Dave Sheehan, a DJ actually, and is plastered all over his car. So if you want to go listen to some music, he actually made the intro music, so thanks to Dave for that. But Niall Quinn on the back of Shane Rabbit now, and it's going to be really tough to make any move past him. And up the ahead, you can just see the other car of Brian McManus. He's still stuck behind Fraser Smith and is unable to make a move.
By the time a long ago, then penultimate lap of the race, there's a car
There's
off.
a car off there. Who is that? That's Robert Barrable spinning around in the background. I think there was contact with somebody else, but now Shane Rabbit trying to get himself, just trying to get up the inside, just trying to stick his nose in right there. Not quite going to be able to do that, but Niall Quinn now has an outside line, and Peter Dempsey, has he had a problem, or is he trying to get himself behind? Yeah, he has had a problem. He's dropped down to 4th place now. He's been off the road.
I think he and his teammate were having a battle for 2nd place. It looked like it on the timing screen, and it looks like Peter Dempsey's come off the worst for wear. Not too sure how it happens, but he's now down to 4th place. He's off the podium.
That is not great for Peter Dempsey. Another car stopped on the outside there. Not quite sure that is. Now Peter Dempsey's got to fight his way back to 2nd place, but he's got to get past Damien Harris first, who's just up ahead of him right here. Can he get himself up the inside? Keith, of course, was going fast lap after fastest lap. Damien covers it. Adrian Campfield trying to get up the inside of Peter as well. Trying to get out there as the white flag is waved. As Jason Cooper still leads this race, by the way. He's a country mile out front. Keith Dempsey, Damien Harris 3rd. Peter Dempsey looking for this podium place. Adrian Campfield on the outside there. And Craig Breen just in the background as well. He's not too far off the back of there. Here goes Peter Dempsey all the way around the outside as contact lights up the throttle. And off the road he goes. And that should give Craig Breen another place, unless he can just not quite get there. But Peter Dempsey down to 5th place, and now here comes Adrian Campfield, on Damien Harris. Tricky place to make a move. Can he make that one work around the outside of the old hairpin? This contact lights up the front tires, but goes off the road, and that was never going to end well into the old hairpin. It's so tricky to make a move right there. Peter Dempsey back up to 3rd place. Adrian Campfield into 4th. Damien Harris is now, and now Craig Breen is going to get himself involved in this battle, which is still raging, even though they've just been off the road.
Well, Damien Harris, that was good courteous driving from him. He slowed down to allow Adrian Campfield back out onto the circuit, and all of a sudden Peter Dempsey looks like he's back on the podium again, as here comes Jason Cooper, who's not had a thing to worry about all race.
Brilliant job. Dominating display from Jason Cooper. He wins the opening race of the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. He takes reverse grid 20th place, should I say. And then Keith Dempsey recovers to 2nd place. And who's going to come out on top in that battle behind Peter Dempsey should have 3rd place secured. Adrian Campfield is going to hold on for 4th place. Damien Harris for 5th. And Craig Breen finishes in 6th place with a great display. Brian McManus recovers to 7th place. Fraser Smith in 8th. And then Robert Moore in 9th. Chris Bays 10th. David Yamamoto comes through to 11th place. And Evan Walsh in 12th. Arias Yamantis 13th. And Dan Harper only managed 14th. David Yamamoto comes through to 11th place, and Evan Walsh in 12th. Arias Yamantis 13th, and Dan Harper only managed 14th.
comes the Jordan Kelly car up the inside. Looks like he's going to take advantage and get past Pat Matheson and up into 5th place.
Consight man, Niall Quinn straight through to 3rd place. He's got a great start. Jordan Kelly straight through as well. 2 veterans of Digital. A great start. Jordan Kelly straight through as well. 2 veterans of Digital Motorsports straight through. Jordan Kelly not had the best race last time out, but he wants to make up for that now. So then Chris Bays just behind him from pole to 5th on lap number 1. Pat Matheson down to 6th. A little bit of bumping, and there's almost a bump and run from Chris Bays. He just misjudges his braking point. Jordan Kelly goes off the road a little bit there, and looks like Graham Quinn has got to slow down, and he lets his brother straight through. Niall Quinn to 2nd place now. Graham Quinn to 3rd. Pat Matheson into 4th place, and REC Mantis getting himself involved as well in 5th. And then Jordan Kelly just behind. Inside, he's dropped down. Actually, looks like he's got to slow down too. There's so much going on our screen right now. So many cars have got slowdown penalties. Cars are spread out all over. They're 3 abreast. Dan Harper up the inside of all those cars. Can he get through this door banging behind as Graham Quinn has to fall down to 7th place? Dan Harper up to 5th place. Arias Mantis makes his way through to 4th place as he chases after Pat Matheson. Can he get straight through to 3rd place? Now, yes, he can, because now Pat Matheson has got off the road at the bottom of the hairpin. There's absolute chaos happening already.
Craig Breen off in the gravel at the old hairpin. Race 2 is not going to go to plan for the World Rally Championship driver. That's a massive shame, but it looked like we might have had a few cars with damage or whatever. Oh, it's all kicking off now.
More. Robert Moore off in the gravel in the background. There's just too many cars on track to space. There's still 3 abreast as they make their way up the hill. Keith Dempsey up ahead. Damien Harris tries to get through there. There's just utter chaos happening. Devian Motors in the gravel now. This is what happens when you have 58 cars on track trying to fight for space.
Well, there's more cars go off. I thought 20 cars was a bit conservative, but it's just caused absolute pandemonium. As here comes Peter Dempsey, who's got Evan Walsh in front of him. We've got 2 laps in the books, and already up 11 places is Peter Dempsey. Keith Dempsey is up 11 places too. The Turn 3 Motorsport cars are turning it on here, and it might be more. It's Peter Dempsey straight up the inside of Evan Walsh. That's the Turn 3 Motorsport car up in 6th place now.
And Niall Quinn has taken the lead.
Yeah.
Niall Quinn is in the lead. we quite missed that. That's a brilliant start for Niall Quinn. Back to old ways. He's quite used to doing that from starting kind of 5th place and surging through to the lead. But Niall Quinn is your new lead right here with Steen Ledger in 2nd and Arias Yamantas, Dan Harper 4th and Jordan Kelly 5th. Not quite sure what happened to Jason Cooper, but he is obviously involved in that massive wreck that we just saw right there. But he has dropped down the field, and that has allowed the Dempseys to get themselves up into the top 10 now.
What a crazy start to the race it is, and Steen Ledger, he isn't out of it just yet. 0.4 of a second away from Quinn as they go down the back straight, but Targa Racing must be loving this. They have had a fantastic start to race 2. 4 places gained for Quinn. Through the chicane they go. They'll be hoping to keep this going forward, but it was a good run on the exit of the chicane there by Ledger, and he's got the slipstream as well of the Audi TCR car over the line. Let's see what the lap times are like. Niall Quinn does a 1:11.9, 1:12.8 for Ledger. That's a decent lap time. Kelly 11.92, so cars in the top 5 setting very decent laps. Off! Quinn runs a bit wide on the exit of Redgate, and that might pose an opportunity for Ledger.
Yeah, Steen is not letting go of the back of Niall Quinn right here, and all this battling might allow Arias and Dan Harper, who's looking really threatening behind him, to make their way up as well. Jordan Kelly sitting pretty in 5th at the moment, just running his lines. Peter Dempsey is there as well. Evan Walsh is 7th. Keith is 8th, and that'll be Chris Bays down to 9th. And Connor Murphy is up to 10th place after all of that carnage. Shane Burke, Olivier Van Herk, and Jason Cooper is now 13th. He has managed to get going now, but he is 13th. Kyle Stevens and Fraser Smith in 15th. So Arias Humantis running inside the podium, doing an amazing job right there. But he's got Dan Harper and Jordan Kelly. He's got some very experienced drivers behind him. Let's see if he can hold them off for a fantastic result.
I'm sure Dan Harper knows his way around Donington Park, and he's got the final spot on the podium in his sights here as we go into the chicane. Yamantis, see if he can keep the number 33 car at bay. Harper gets a decent exit on the out of the chicane. Over the timing line we go. On board with the Harper Racing car. Is he going to go up the inside? It looks like Ledger just in the front of that onboard shot is taking the lead back. Up the inside goes Harper, and he's now up into 3rd.
Yeah, just you saw how squirrely the car was. As you said, you were right. Steen Ledger has retaken the lead. We've got a great lead battle on our hands between Steen Ledger and Niall Quinn. This is going to go brilliantly. But now Dan Harper has cleared Arias Humantas. Can he catch up to this 2-car train for the lead? We'll see in due course. But now Dan Harper from Arias Humantas, Jordan Kelly now latching on to Humantas ahead, and Keith and Peter are now together. That's going to be an interesting one to watch later on. But Niall Quinn latched onto the back of Steen Ledger. 15 lap race, 10 laps to go as we come across the line. There's not long to go, but Steen Ledger is your leader.
Yeah, we could see Dempsey's United here as they try to get past Jordan Kelly and Yamantis and try and join Dan Harper, who is trying to close down the gap. As you can see from the relative box in the bottom right hand side of your screen, as Quinn gets slowed out on the brakes, the gap is 3.4 seconds, and I think we might just see roles reverse this time as we come onto the front straight. 2/10 of a second between Ledger and Quinn over the line to start lap 6. Will he go for the move into the first corner as he shifts up into 6th gear? No, he thinks better of it.
And you can just see how loose the back end gets as they come into there. They're fighting for every ounce of grip that they can find. But Niall Quinn, no stranger to racing, was a former test driver for A1GP back in the day. So he knows his way around Donington as well. Let's see how he can negotiate Steen, if he can. Steen is running his lines very, very well. Just a bit wide from Niall Quinn at the exit of the old hairpin. And just looking at the relative box, Harper is closing in, but not quite enough. With 10 laps to go, Niall's so late on the brakes into this next corner and then up the hill. But I think he's just going to have to wait for his opportunity.
Yeah, if you can leave your braking quite late and get a move done at the inside there, but Ledger positioned the car well, put it on the inside line, and there was nowhere for Quinn to go. Onto the back straight we go. Ledger moving over to the right just a little bit, maybe to stop Quinn picking up any sort of slipstream. And now this is the place where you can gain and lose a lot of time. It's the chicane. Quinn brakes very late, hop over that curb, hop over the next one, and back onto the front straight they go. It is a fantastic lap, and if you are a driver in this series, it is probably one of the most fun tracks on the iRacing service just because of the way the circuit flows. No wonder it's a fan favourite of many. Make sure they don't hit that lap traffic. And Harper 111.8 I should say, so he is lapping just fractionally quicker than the guys in front, but with just over half the race still to go, it's going to take a bit more than that, I think, if he is to close in on him. Look at this fight though.
Oh, Jordan Kelly straight through an Arias Yamantis to 5th place. Peter Dempsey up to 4th place now, just behind Dan Harper. So he is up 14 places from where he started. It's not bad at all. Adrian Campbell gets out of the way, and now Jordan Kelly is latched onto Peter Dempsey, almost touching his bumper as they run up through the old aqueduct, trying to get up the inside. Arias Yamantis trying to fend off Keith Dempsey behind as well, trying to get the switch back. Behind them is Evan Walsh, who's doing a great job in 8th place at the moment. Up the hill they come once again. Peter now chasing after the other Turn 3 Motorsport car of Dan Harper. Now, Keith Dempsey on the back of Arias Yamantis down towards the chicane. He might be able to get this done. If Arias doesn't defend, he's going to move to the inside, show himself in the mirrors, make his intention very clear. Can he get it done on the brakes? Goes super late on the brakes, straight through. Keith Dempsey up to 6th place now, chasing after Jordan Kelly and chasing after Peter, who's also trying to latch onto the back of Dan Harper. But up front, it has not changed. It's still Steen Ledger from Niall Quinn, but they are still very close together. Dan Harper fastest of the top 3.
Yeah, we're 11 with 1:11.6. That was a new personal best of the race for him. Personal best all over the field. Here is Evan Walsh. He is just getting past Yamantis too. So within the space of a couple of laps, Yamantis, who had gained quite a few places in the early going, has drifted back to right where he started in 8th. He should be there for the time being though, because the next car was Colin Bays, who is 3.7 seconds away. But back to the fight for the lead, and there's almost an invisible tow rope between Ledger and Quinn. Almost, they are that close, and I'm sure the rear bumper of Ledger is quickly becoming a magnet for Niall Quinn, because there's no signs at all the Irishman disappearing as we have just a couple of laps to go now. We are past the halfway point in this second race.
Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted from this championship. The guys running nose to tail for the lead. But either way, these guys have not taken a win in this series, of course, so it will be interesting to see who's going to claim the honours in the first feature race of the season. Jason Cooper taking the heat race win, but he has not had the best of times. He's down to 11th place after a huge wreck. But it is still Steen Ledger from Niall Quinn on this lap, and Dan Harper behind. Very quick again, 1:11.6. But Peter Dempsey, 1:11.3. But Keith Dempsey at 1:11.0 behind. He's flying in that trend, but he's stuck behind these guys. It's not really helping this case, and there's not a lot of laps left to try and get past. And is he having to think about going past Jordan Kelly right there? With the yellow trim on his car, he's going to go through on the old hairpin straight up the inside. Bravery of the next level from Keith Dempsey. Can he get it done? Jordan Kelly on the cutback on the outside, not going to quite be able to get alongside. He's going to have to think about it, but Keith just closes the door. That was very, very brave stuff from Keith Dempsey.
Our contender for move of the race meeting, that very brave by Keith Dempsey up the inside. And for the last couple of laps, the two Dempseys have been separated, but now they're right back together again. 4th and 5th, both gaining 14 places. it's going to be tough, but I reckon if they could just hang with Daniel Harper, then they could be maybe within touching distance of the top 2 by the time the race comes to an end. The gap between 2nd and 3rd is now down to 2.8 seconds as Harper continues to take a little bit of chunks every few laps out of Ledger and Quinn, who are still 0.3 of a second apart at the front of the field.
And now it's going to be interesting to see how the Turn 3 Motorsport cars work with each other. They're all together now. Peter Dempsey up the inside, takes 3rd place away from Dan Harper. Now Dan with the cutback. Is he going to fight with his teammates here on the outside line? It's going to be tricky enough. Dan Harper is trying to hold on to 3rd place for all his might, but Peter Dempsey is still alongside. They've run down through the old Harper. There's almost contact, but there just isn't. I don't know how they didn't make contact through there, but Dan Harper holds on for now. But Peter Dempsey with the switchback now. Keith Dempsey's involved as well. He's going to try and follow his brother through on the outside line. Dan is just going to run out of space right here as Peter Dempsey sweeps around the outside, takes the inside for the next corner. Keith's going to follow in through with some great driving right here. Jordan Kelly's trying to follow in through as well, and Peter Dempsey and Keith Dempsey take Dan Harper in one swift move right there, and Evan Walsh goes through to 6th place in the background. Great racing.
Wow, fantastic. That was touring car racing at its best there. And Dan Harper, who was 3rd at the beginning of the lap, now shuffled back down to 5th, and he's got the VRA Racing duo right behind him now into the final chicane. That is Evan Walsh and Jordan Kelly hopping over the curbs again and onto the front straight. The 2 Dempseys have checked out now. They are away, and they might now be the 2 that can try and close the gap to the guys in front. Over the line we go to start lap 11. If they're going to close the gap, which is 2.5 seconds, they're going to have to be quick about it. But 15 places gained for these guys. They were right at the front in race 1 and are doing just the same here in race 2 with 4 laps to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened to Niall Quinn, but he's dropped a second off the back of Steen Ledger up front as well. You can just see the gap has increased. Now, I'm not sure if he's had a problem or something, but it's up to 1.2 seconds, but the Dempseys are now working with each other. This is exactly what we want to see, the pure team tactics from the brothers working together now as they try to close up to Niall Quinn in the background. That was Peter trying to fend off from Keith as there. They are not working together. I just minced my words right there. Keith Dempsey goes through to 3rd place. There must have been contact there between the brothers.
Never mind brotherly love, sibling rivalry this is more like, as Dempsey, Keith Dempsey that is now up into P3, deposing his brother Peter. And now look at that, Daniel Harper's managed to get back onto the rear of these guys again, so he might try to shuffle the pack a little bit into the final chicane. Look at that, flying over the curbs there, and has got a very decent run. Let's see if we can get it into the red gate. Over the line we go, on to lap 12. New personal best again from the top 2. Ledger and Quinn, they are checking out at the front. Keith Dempsey at 1:12. No sign of Harper up the inside into red gate though.
He's having to think about it though, but he's got to fend off Evan Walsh, who is very and looks like he's got a switchback. Dan Harper straight through on Peter Dempsey. I think that might have been letting him through, and Evan same time, who just had a little bit of a run down towards the old hairpin. Can Evan find his way through? To be great if he could get a top 5 finish here for Evan Walsh. Arias Mantis had latched onto this as well. He fell back earlier on, but he's now latched onto the back of them again. Steen Ledger checking out up front. He's not got many laps left to go, but he could have a late charge from Niall Quinn and from Keith Dempsey, because Niall Quinn is latching back onto him up front as well. It's going to be really interesting to watch. This is going to be a thrilling finish.
Really is, and the gap is coming down as well between Ledger and Quinn, and there's still plenty of time for Quinn to get to the front. But look at this fight going on for the remaining spots inside the top 10. Evan Walsh up 3 places. A top 5 for him on the opening race meeting of the season would be fantastic for him. Started down in 9th place, he's gained those 3 places to get up to 6th, and could potentially get a top 5 if he can get past Peter Dempsey. Over the line onto lap 13 then, 3 laps to go, including the one we're on, and it's all line astern in the fight for a spot in the top 5 and maybe even a spot on the podium as well.
Yeah, Niall Quinn at 1:11.3. He's taking another couple of tenths out of Steen Ledger up front. I think there's only half a second between them now. He's back on it. The battle for the lead is back on, and I think he's going to be lapping somebody very shortly as well. So Niall, whatever happened to him earlier, he's latched back on. Could have been saving his tyres a little bit, but again, there's only 2 laps to go as we come across the line. Can Niall Quinn steal a win here? It's going to be so interesting to watch as we run up the hill. On board with Niall Quinn once again at the top of the circuit, trying to get past Steen Ledger for this win, trying to get the run down the back straight here into the last chicane. Is he going to be able to do it with 2 laps to go? He's still going to have to bide his time. Pulls himself out, shows himself in the mirror. He's just letting Steen know he's there. Not going to quite go late on the brakes there. Hops the curbs again, and we go on to lap 14 of 15.
2 laps to go then. Steen Ledger can almost reach out and touch the checker flag and maybe even taste a bit of champagne as well. They're coming up to some lap traffic, which might pose a few issues, especially through this section of the circuit, the Craner curves and the old hairpin. We'll have to wait and see. Ledger almost getting out onto the dirt. We saw him do that at the old hairpin and he lost a ton of time. Fortunately there, he doesn't lose too much, and that remains 0.3 of a second as we plunge back down the hill again.
Steen just taking a bit of a defensive line into the old hairpin here, and they've got to deal with this lap traffic of Tony Stack and David Boudreaux very shortly, who are embroiled in a battle of their own. Now Niall's got a great run out of the old hairpin up the hill. He's going to think about a move. He's going to move to the inside line, goes late on the brakes up the inside of Steen Ledger. Can he take the lead? Yes, he can. Niall Quinn is your new leader on lap 14 of 15, but this battle is not over. Steen Ledger still vying for this win, but Niall Quinn has only got one more lap to go as they come across the line, and Peter Dempsey's been in the wall. Peter Dempsey has lost his rear wing. What has happened to Peter?
Well, I hope it wasn't anything involving his brother, but here's a replay. Now this is the VRA cars.
Oh dear. Yeah, that was not exactly what Peter wanted, but that was a massive off at the bottom of the old hairpin into the back of the tyre barrier there. That's not exactly what he wanted at this, but a bit of a shame for Peter. But Steen Ledger is back in the lead.
Where's Niall Quinn?
He's dropped back again. What has happened to Niall? He's down to 9th place.
Oh well. Now this is at the final chicane. Oh, lap traffic. Oh dear. Just when Niall Quinn had taken the lead. Who's that? Number 31, David Boudreaux. I hope I got that name right, but that's a disaster for Niall Quinn.
Through no fault of his own. It's such a shame. But Dan Harper into 3rd. Keith Dempsey will get to 2nd. But Steen Ledger, he got helped out a little bit with lap traffic. But Keith is not far off the back of him. You can kind of see he's 1.1 off the back, but he's just going to run out of laps, as you can see. But Steen Ledger just got one more chicane to negotiate, and he will take the first feature race win through the last chicane. Just to be careful to hop the curbs, doesn't do anything stupid across the line. Steen Ledger wins the first feature race of the season, the Digital-Motorsports TCR Cup. Great win from him. Keith Dempsey finishes 2nd, and Dan Harper rounds out the podium, and Evan Walsh with a brilliant 4th place. Must have just missed out on the podium. They're very close between them. Jordan Kelly in 5th, Arias Humanta 6th, and Jason Cooper recovers to 7th place, and Chris Bayes 8th, and Niall Quinn, he must be gutted, 9th place after fighting for the lead in the last lap. Just didn't go his way.
What a shame for him. Great result for Steen Ledger, fantastic drive from him, and in the end he was able to avoid the lap traffic and take the win. Got a feel though for Niall Quinn, who had just taken the lead when we were watching it on the penultimate lap, but in the end it's Dempsey that finished 2nd, you're right, and Dan Harper completing the podium. And what a fantastic second race that was. What a fantastic opening meeting to the season we've had.
Yeah, it's going to be a great championship at this rate. 2 different winners in the 2 feature races, and the reverse grid certainly brings another element to it. But 2 different winners. Jason Cooper and Steen Ledger, 2 brand new winners as well, so well done to them. But the Dempsey's really fighting it out, and unfortunately Peter getting caught up in an incident, and then Niall unfortunately just hitting lap traffic at the wrong time. Just a bit of a shame, but these TCR cars are just brilliant for this type of racing.
And I think this track lends it to some great racing as well. I mean, we couldn't have picked a better circuit to get the evening up and running, and we've had 2 fantastic races and 2 worthy winners in the end. Jason Cooper, race 1, led from lights to flag, had a really comfortable lead, and Steen Ledger, he had to fight with Niall Quinn, but even with the issue for Quinn at the end, Ledger was still a worthy winner, and it sets us up nicely for the rest of the campaigners. Here are the results on your screen.
Confirmation of results then. Steen Ledger wins the first feature race with Keith Dempsey finishing in 2nd, and Dan Harper gets his first podium there. Evan Walsh, brilliant result in 4th place. Jordan Kelly in 5th. Just looking at the gap between Dan Harper and Evan Walsh, that's a couple of hundredths right there. That was very close across the line. Jordan Kelly in 5th, Arias Humanta 6th, Jason Cooper recovers to 7th place, Colin Bayes finishes in 8th, Niall Quinn in 9th, and Shane Burke gets in to 10th place with Simtech Racing. Olivier Van Herk then in 11th, Brian McManus in 12th, Damien Harris in 13th, and Conor Murphy in 14th. Fraser Smith 15th, Kyle Stevens in 16th, Devi Yamamoto comes across in 17th place, and James Holman in 18th place. And then further down, 19th place, Owen Murray finishes in 19th, Ronan Haderman in 20th, Robert Moore in 21st, Shane Rabbit 22nd, Wayne Douglas 23rd, Sergio Grabman in 24th, Max Turley finishes 25th, Rob O'Neill 26th, Aaron Kerry in 27th, Tony Stack in 28th, then Naveed Hussain in 29th, Alex Denning in 30th, Peter Dempsey is classified as 31st, David Budrez in 32nd, Adam Dowling, Simon Wall, Damien McMullen, Patrick McKenna, Jack Byrne, and Dave Collier 38th. And I think these guys would have been non-finishers, unfortunately. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for them. Craig Breen, I think, was a non-finisher in this one, down in 45th. And just running through the driver, there's Brian Egan, Adrian Canfield, Nicky Meredith, Chris Bayes, Pat Masterson, Graham Quinn, Craig Breen, Keith Rabbit, Keen Carey, and Peter McCann in 48th as classified. But yeah, that is round one all done and dusted, and it is a full UK calendar, from what I understand. We're not quite sure of the order of it just yet, but it has been Donington. We're heading to Brands Hatch. We're heading to a couple of other ones as well. But it's gonna be brilliant, and we're gonna round out this stream here. So thank you, Adam, for joining me. Thanks to Samuel for working hard on the cameras as always. And join us next time for round 2 of the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. Thanks for watching us on Apex Racing TV and on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you subscribe to both of those, and we will see you next time out for the next round of the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. Thank you, and good evening.
Different lines here in the Parabolica, everyone going left and right, a little bit more spread out right now. Lewis Ward.
Ooh, no, that's too... Surely that's too early. Or is it? I don't see how this is going to work.
This is a very, very strange call. Brave, if it pays off, hats off to
I can
him.
only imagine he might be able to slingshot himself past the traffic. That being in traffic might be an advantage because he can just dip into the slipstream and pass one. However, the amount of extra fuel you're going to have to drive with for the next 20 minutes is so much that it's going to use you so much time down the straights. I mean, that's just like, and it's not even say, oh, that's a lot of curb again. Don't take that much curb, Seb. You're giving us a heart attack. It doesn't really work fantastic around this place with the extra fuel because sometimes it can kind of bounce your car out a little bit. Sometimes your set can work